Welcome back, everyone, to my weekly series where I introduce you to new games to check out on Roblox. This is episode number 28, and I'm sorry it's been a moment since I've done one of these. Last week, we had the hunt, which was the whole easiest badges video that I did. This week, though, we got a lot of good games for you. We got a couple, I want to say friendly games, like simulator kind of happy style games. And then we get a little bit more violent, okay? So this is probably going to be a lot more combat style games than usual. But that's just what we got dealt this week. What can I say? It's been a couple weeks. We got a lot of games to choose from. Now, if you're new to the series, that means there are 27 other episodes you have not seen yet. So definitely check out the playlist in the description below. Also, link it at the top right here so you can catch up. Because if you're bored on Roblox, which a lot of you are, especially after the hunt, there's a lot of games you can go check out right now. By the way, if you enjoy discovering new games on Roblox, this is a weekly series. So definitely hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos like this one. So starting with our first game here, it is Ants Simulator 2. Now, before you click off, hear me out, okay? Because this is not like your typical simulator. I know simulators just are overdone on Roblox. That's why I don't really feature these typically, but this one's a little bit different. And the reason is it is based on Bee Swarm Simulator, which is probably one of the most anti-simulators there are on Roblox, meaning it doesn't really need the word simulator on it because it's so unique. And this game is inspired by it. It is a second version of it. There was a previous version of Ant Simulator, but it wasn't very good in my opinion, and that's probably why they came out with the second one. And this game just feels really polished. It's honestly one of the best versions of Bee Swarm that I've seen, or at least copies of Bee Swarm. And in this game, you need to hatch your first egg in an incubator. Then after you hatch it and collect your ant, you need to go head back to your base and equip the ant and the slot. Then you need to head over to the quest giver and start completing quests by farming different things. So they're going to ask you to go and farm from different fields. And with that, you're going to go back to your hive or base or colony or whatever you want to call it. And you're going to have your ants convert the pollen into nectar, which you can then use as your currency. So nectar is your currency in this game, and you spend it on different things like getting better backpacks. You can get better tools for harvesting more. And of course, you can buy more eggs to get more ants. So the more ants, the better, because they also auto farm for you around your body. So if you're in a field, they'll just go around and farm. Once you get enough ants, you can also unlock new areas, beat new bosses, and continue to grind for the best gear in the game. This is honestly one of the best clones I've seen of Bee Swarm Simulator yet, and it's refreshing to play. It's also pretty cool looking. Like, the world itself looks really cool. The avatar looks cool. Everything about this game says quality to me compared to most of the copies that I've seen. So if you want to check out Ant Simulator, I will link it in the description. Go check it out. The next game we have is called Still Confinement, and this is kind of a cool game, man. It's like, gives me like FNAF vibes in a sense that you're, doing the whole day shift or night shift kind of format, but without the animatronics and without the jump scares. There's nothing really scary in this game, which I really liked. It feels like you're on this little boat and you're needing to complete a series of easy like puzzle tasks while being interrupted with emergencies, including, having to refill your generator, for example, or sometimes your windows will crack and you need to duct tape them and fix them, or you need to hide from monsters. I call them monsters, but it's not really a monster. It's not that scary, okay? But to do that, you got to turn off your generator and much more. I'm not going to spoil it. I know a lot of you don't like it when I say too much about a game, but it's pretty cool. There's also a multiplayer version, so you can have someone helping you complete tasks maybe while someone else is watching the generator. So that might be a little bit easier than just doing it solo. Now, after you complete each shift, it gets a little bit more difficult, which is nice not to be thrown straight into, that difficulty. You start out with a really easy version of the game, and then as you complete it, then you get more challenges. The one tip I'm going to give you though is that this one's items, so like when you need to pick up a key or you need to go and use the key, it looks like you have to actually touch the items with your body. So you have to like move into them for you to be able to pick up the keys or unlock stuff. So to give you a little tip on that, because it was confusing for me at first, I was clicking on them and nothing would happen. So hopefully they'll fix that where it's maybe more of a pickup, like a highlight. So you mouse over it or something. I don't know. I think that is a little wonky, but beyond that, it's a good game. Definitely check out Still Confinement. Next up is a game called A Dusty Trip. This is a brand new game by the maker of Steep Steps and Field Trip Z, my friend Jandil, and he created a new game called A Dusty Trip. This game is blowing up on Roblox right now, by the way. They had like 40,000 players last I checked, and the game is similar to The Long Drive, which is also inspired by a Steam game, or pretty much just a copy of a Steam game, where you start out in a barn and there's basically a shell of a car outside that you need to repair. When I say repair, that's pretty much an understatement. It basically is just a shell. It's just the body of the car. There's no engine, there's no wheels, there's no doors, there's no lights, all that kind of stuff. Although there is an interior. They got like a seat and steering wheel, I guess. But this thing looks like it just came out of a junkyard. And with this, you have to first set up the car, and there's this, pretty simple tutorial on how to do this, but you need to place 4 wheels, an engine, you got to put your doors on, you got to find a radiator and put that in there, and then you got to fuel your car to get it going. So the controls are a bit weird. They're kind of difficult. I think a lot of players are probably going to move on from the game because they're kind of difficult, but you get used to it after a while. I got used to it. Once you get your car on the road, you just need to pay attention to the road to make sure you don't crash into any like rocks or anything like that. And on the way, you also need to keep an eye on your fuel, since if you run out, you're going to be abandoned in the middle of nowhere, and you're going to have to hike all the way to a point where you can get fuel. And you'll probably die doing that because there's dangers, there's weather that's trying to kill you. So it's a game of survival in a car. It's kind of a unique twist. I love this game. It's really cool. In order to be able to get more fuel, by the way, you got to keep an eye out for buildings along the way. And inside those buildings, you can loot them. And often there's gas or fuel. There's sometimes food inside. You can also loot for weapons, because you're going to need to keep an eye out for any mutants. There's like these mutant type enemies that try to kill you, so you're gonna want to get some weapons just in case they do find you. They're not that dangerous. Most of the time I was able to get them to glitch and not chase me, so not too bad. Nothing to really be scared of. But there's not really much of a goal with this game though, other than just try to drive and survive. It's more of an adventuring game and looting game than anything, so definitely check out A Dusty Trip if you're looking for something unique on Roblox. Next up, we have a game called GEF, and when I saw this next game, I thought it was just another killer chaser game. I'm talking about those like Color or Die or Cheese Escape, or, any of the bot games where you gotta like run away from the killer. And surprisingly, it's nothing like that. I mean, you do have a killer or multiple killers. In this game, GEF, you need to run around and loot during the day and then fortify a house. There's tons of houses and buildings you can choose from, and you're gonna fortify that building from GEFs, aka giant evil faces that attack you during the night. So tons of them spawn at night and they try to break in to kill you. And so that's where the fortification comes in play. The way it works in the game is you need to go to various houses and find a hammer, and then you're going to use that hammer and board up things like windows as well as passageways into the house, like the garage or the entrance to the house, or upstairs. Basically just board everything up and make yourself a nice Fortnite style box. And it's kind of cool though. So how you do the hammer thing with boarding, I thought was a pretty unique way of doing this, is you click on one point and then you click on another point, and then it draws a board or creates a board in between those 2 points that you place. So I really enjoy this game. I like the looting mechanics. I like it just overall. There's a lot more to explore for me, and I didn't even find like guns and stuff, but apparently there's guns in the game. So definitely check this one out if you are looking for something kind of like an SCP feel to it. GEF is a cool one. Definitely check it out. Now, not many episodes ago, I don't know how many episodes ago, it was maybe like 2-3 months ago. Can't remember. But if you remember, there was a game that was kind of like Doors that was called Haunt. Well, the same developer made a new game. It's a shooter. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect at first, but it has the same pace as Blade Ball. It's nothing like Blade Ball though. So thankfully it's not another Blade Ball clone. We have like a million of these games. Instead, it's kind of a fast-paced, unique shooter. And the whole goal is to shoot the potato at other players. So it's a hot potato style game. Very, very fast-paced, very small map. In fact, I think it's a little too small of a map. The dev intended for it to be, small like that. So it's really sweaty, okay? So if you have someone that's really, really good, you're going to be struggling in this game. The whole idea is if you're on fire, then you have the potato and you need to send it to someone else. You don't want to be holding it too long because you're going to continue to tick down. It's almost like a timer. And so instead of like it blowing up, like it's not like a dynamite or fuse use where you have to be the last one with it. It's more like the more you have it, the more damage you take. And if you can keep it on others, then you can kill them a little faster. But really cool, unique twist on a shooter. If you don't like dying in shooters, you don't like, you know, getting shot in the head over and over and over by shooters, Hot Potato is just a different style combat game and really unique. They need a lot more players too, so go check it out. If there's no players, you can always hop on my Discord at discord.gg/dvplays and you can ask people to join you, or you can also join the official Discord, which is linked on the game page. Next up, we have a game called Life Sentence, which is a new prison game by the makers of the popular Hard Time game from Steam, which kind of had like a retro vibe to it. In this game, you could choose between being a guard or a prisoner, as you'd expect, and there isn't much of a goal to the game other than just completing various tasks in the game. You can do jobs, you can get money that way, and you can also earn bounty, much like, you know, most jail style games. You're going to go around, earn money, and then get better stuff. This one had a pretty cool feel to it, and it's not insanely pay to win. I had a lot of fun arresting people in this one and chasing down the baddies, dude. Sometimes it feels like my Discord server, I swear. Next up, we have a game called Battles, which is a medieval PvP style game, much like Ballista. If you haven't seen that, it's basically a bunch of knights and, you know, soldiers with swords, and they kill each other. But in this game, you battle it out with your army in a variety of game modes. You can choose between 3 different classes, including a duelist blade master, a tanky juggernaut, or if you like range stuff, maybe you like to just kind of shoot arrows from a distance, they have a ranger. You can level up your character, unlock new gear, customize your look, and have fun battling other players for victory. Really, though, I love the look of this game. It's very detailed. It doesn't really look like Roblox at times, and then the characters themselves look like Roblox, which is a nice kind of mix. It's a nice balance. It's a healthy balance. I did a lot of damage as an archer. That's all I'm gonna say. Next up, we have kind of a semi-scary game. It's not really scary, but it has kind of that dark, scary feel. And this one is called Escape the Mouse. And in Escape the Mouse, you need to find all 16 VHS tapes to be able to power the exit. It's basically a ramped up version of Cheese Escape, if you're familiar with that game. And it should be pretty familiar for fans of Color or Die, which, by the way, Color or Die will be getting an update soon, I've been told. There's a lot of games like this. There's tons of variants of the same game, and this is yet another one of them. You need to gather various colored keys around the map to help you progress and collect all the VHS. And then, of course, once you've unlocked all the rooms and you've got all the different items, you can escape. And finally, we have a game called Rooms and Doors, and this one had been recommended a lot. And the problem I had with it is it said creation date was in 2020, which means this game is like 4 years old. But I did notice that most of the badges were created last year's, and because I hadn't really heard of this one before, we're just gonna go and roll with it and feature it anyway as a new game, even though it might be a little bit older. I just hadn't seen it before. But Rooms and Doors is a Rooms-inspired game with a much more polished feel to it. If you're not familiar with Rooms, it's basically the original game that inspired Doors. This one has a really cool look to it, though. The entities are neat, the effects are cool, the physics are pretty cool, and they got this crazy like hole in the middle of the room that I kind of wanted to jump in to see what was down there, but I didn't really want to cut the video too short. In the end, I did get killed by some random entities, so I mean, there's that. But maybe I'll try to beat this a little bit later. Let me know in the comments below, do you want to see a video dedicated to this game? Drop a comment below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed these. Let me know if you have any new games to recommend in the comments below. I'm always looking for new ones, especially if they're less than a year old. I want to hear about it. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, happy grinding. Peace.